Welcome to episode 24 of Celtic Sagas and Lore. In this episode I'd like to do one of the lesser totem animals, in this case the frog and its close cousin the toad. Now in Celtic mythology and mysticism, water was the gateway to the other world, place of spirit and earth coming together. So places and objects and animals that represented a mix of the two were considered scared. For example, marshland and bogs, an example, were also considered these places. The reed in the Celtic totem animal has one day of the year is its sign, where others have matter of weeks. Now, you know the frog, the toad, they are amphibious beings, so they can quite happily live in both worlds. So therefore, for this reason, they were considered scared. Now, the toad and the frog were also, as totemistic animals, considered to have healing and secret magical properties. Firstly, because they lived in marshy areas where various healing plants and herbs reside. Also, the animals themselves were used in medicinal remedies and were very common in folklore. For example, one of the Breton old wives' tales, for want of a better phrase, was if you had a sore eye and you licked the eye of a frog, your sore eye would go to the frog, and other examples. Story I'd like to do for you in this episode is the Frog and the Princess. Now, it's along the lines of the popular fairy tale of the princess and the frog, where in that story a princess is playing at the side of a pond with a golden ball, and she drops into the pond, and a frog comes up to her and says, asks her why she's crying, and she says, I've dropped my ball in the pool, and if you the frog said, well, if I get the ball for you, will you agree to kiss me? And the girl, obviously joking, laughs and agrees yes. So she goes and gets the ball, and the frog goes and gets the ball, brings it back, and she kisses him, and then he turns into a beautiful prince. And obviously that's from that the popular expression for single women looking for men, the phrase must kiss many frogs before they find their prince. Now, there's a similar tale found in the Celtic legends and lore, and in this version a peasant girl is living with a widowed mother, and her mother tells her to go to the well and fetch water. So it's a hot summer's day and there's a great drought, so she goes down to the well and tries to get water, and there's no water. She goes back and tells her mother, and she's chastised for being lazy, so she goes back to the well. Same thing happens again. So the third time she goes down, she's sitting by the well and she's crying, and a frog appears to her as in the other story and says, why are you crying? And she says that I can't fetch my water for my mother for the household chores, and I will be chastised if I turn again without any water. So the frog says to her, well, if you agree to be my wife, then I will get you all the water you want. So she laughs and says, okay then. So the frog instructs her to lower the water down, and she comes up with a bucket full of water. So she takes it back to her mother, and her mother's very happy, and the girl forgets all about the frog until the night time. So she's lying in bed, and there is a knock at her window, and she opens the window, and the frog says, my true love, let me in. She says, don't be daft, frog, let me in, I am to be your husband, I am your betrothed. So not wanting to wake her mother, she goes to the front door, opens it, and the frog hops in. The frog says to her, my true love, my betrothed, where is my supper? Again, not wanting to wake her mother, she gets some bread and cheese, and the frog eats it. He says, my love, true love, my betrothed, it's time for bed, so let's go to bed. She says, you can't get into bed with me. She says, you're a frog, you're a filthy, slimy toad, you can't get into bed with me. but Ren does not again not want to wake her mother. She folds the bedding back, and the frog hops in next to her in the bed. So she says, "My love, my true love, my betrothed, go and get me the axe." "Why?" She says, "Just do. I am to be your husband, and you must obey me." So she gets out of bed and she goes to the wood shed, and she brings the axe, and it's a very heavy axe for chopping wood, and it's banging and clanking, and she brings it in, and her mother has woken. And her mother says, "What on earth are you doing, girl?" So she explains the story to her mother, and with the frog hops out, she says, my love, cut my head off." She says, "I can't do that. You'll die." "My love, obey me. I can't do it myself." So, okay, she raises the axe and chops the frog's head off. She looks down, all of a sudden the body of the frog starts to disappear, and a mist forms, and the mist rises and forms that of a prince. And he says, "My betrothed, I was cursed by a witch, and I was turned into a frog, and now I'm free, and now we can marry, and be my love." And as the story goes, then they lived happily ever after. Somewhat unusual story, but a bit more badass than getting a ball from the bottom of a pond, to chop the frog's head off with an axe. But that's the nature of Celtic legends for you. So I hope you enjoyed this story, and hope to see you in episode 25. Thanks for listening.